Why do people always fall for Ponzi schemes? I mean, look at Bitconnect, and you're gonna look at Bernie Madoff, and look at in the future we're gonna have more Bitconnects and more Ponzi schemes that people fall. So why do people fall for Ponzi schemes? So first of all, what we got to do is kind of look at the history of Ponzi schemes and look at Charles Ponzi, because what he did is basically the model for what everybody else has done after that and what people will do in the future. So we could talk about ways that you could you can avoid falling for some of these Ponzi schemes. So Ponzi schemes have been around for more than 100 years, but it wasn't really popularized until Charles Ponzi created his investment scam. So you may have heard about who Charles Ponzi is, and he started the Ponzi scheme, but let me just give you a little background on the man so you know who he was. He was an Italian immigrant. He came into Canada and he was jailed in Canada for check fraud. Then he came to the United States, and then he was jailed again in the United States for sneaking in Italian immigrants across the border from Canada. So he had already been in jail twice, which meant that his employment prospects weren't very good, and he wanted to be very, very rich. He was just obsessed with making money, and he didn't want to make his money through criminal enterprise. He actually had a legitimate business idea. His idea was to find all the Italian businesses in the Boston area, put them into one little book, and then circulate that book around the Italian American community. He really wanted to create like a Yellow Pages concept, and it didn't take off. However, he did. He was corresponding to some people in Italy to talk about opportunities in creating this business. And when he got one of the letters back from Italy, he found something inside called an IRC, an International Reply Coupon. And he asked, "What is this? What is this International Reply Coupon?" It was basically, if you wanted someone from, let's say you're in the United States and you wanted someone in Italy to mail you back something, you would send them this IRC, so they didn't have to buy postage in their country, which would have to be converted to US dollars. It just sort of made it easy to buy postage across different countries. One of the things he realized, that the IRC's price was fixed to the local currency. So that meant an IRC in the United States, where the dollar had one of the strongest currencies in the world, was much, much more expensive than it was in Italy, which was reeling from post-World War I, where Charles Ponzi, at the time, this was like 1918, this was coming out of World War I. So the Italian economy was in shambles, the Italian currency, the lira, was in really rough shape, so the IRCs were very, very cheap. So Charles Ponzi had this idea, hey, let me get my friends in Italy to buy a bunch of these IRCs, ship them to me, and then I would resell them in the United States. He was basically doing an early form of arbitrage, and he made money. He tripled his money, and this was incredible. And he was like, I can just do this. This could be my job. And it could have been his job. He could have made, back in 1918, the average annual salary of a worker was $1,300 a year. So he could have easily made that and then some. So he decided, well, I need more money. I want to raise money because this is a great business opportunity. So he went around and started raising money. And he promised people he could pay them back 45% of their money in 90 days. And at a time when the best you can really get was 5% a year, people just avalanched Ponzi with money. In fact, they gave him so much money, they gave him more money than he could possibly buy IRC coupons, because there were only, I believe they said, about 20,000 of these coupons in circulation. And at a certain point, Charles Ponzi was getting $1,000 a day in investors, and this was 1919 money. So basically what he did was he would pay people back the 45% in 90 days, but he was using new investors' money. So that's where you get the Ponzi scheme, where he wasn't paying back through his legitimate business because he couldn't buy enough IRC coupons. He was just paying old investors with capital coming in from new investors. And of course, this was not sustainable, because at a certain point he couldn't pay back. There wasn't enough money coming in as he needed to have coming out, and the whole thing just collapsed on him. I think it took like maybe 2 or 3 years, but we see that Charles Ponzi model come back with Bernie Madoff, where he promised 12% a year, which you can't do that on a consistent basis. So he just paid back his old clients with new money coming in from the new clients. And obviously the same thing with Bitconnect. I was promising, up to 1% per day. So here's the main reason why people fall for Ponzi schemes. It's not that people are stupid, it's just that they want to believe that these returns are real. Think about it, if someone you knew, maybe not a stranger, but someone you kind of sort of trusted, because a lot of these Ponzi schemes are really affinity scams, because Ponzi, went to Italian Americans in his community for money, and then he would go outside that circle, we need more money. Bernie Madoff went to, he was Jewish, so he went to Jewish, members of his community, and then he went outside of that circle. Bitconnect obviously went to people who were really into cryptocurrency and believed in cryptocurrency, and then from there the affiliates just went to whoever they could grab capital from. So it's always an affinity scam, or usually it's an affinity scam where the first victims are reeled in because they feel like, okay, I can trust this person because he's someone that's kind of like me. But the real problem is people want to believe that these returns are real. So if you want to make a lot of money, if you want to become a millionaire, and someone's telling you, look, I can give you 50% returns a year, and you do the math and you realize that in 5 years you can become a millionaire, it's like you kind of want that. You want that to be true. And so you're like, may or may not be true, but let me just put in my money, and you get that first check back and you're like, wow, it has to be real. I mean, 50% a year is unsustainable, but they send me one check back. They have to send me more checks back. It's like your mind just wants to believe that this is real. So the best advice I can give if someone comes at you with an investment opportunity is ask them, well, how are you getting these returns? And if they can't give you an answer, don't invest. Or if they say, well, we're doing something, or if they insinuate that they're doing something that might be illegal or gray market, that's probably a scam too. That's probably going to blow up if they're saying, well, I know somebody and we're doing these, front running trades, or I have some inside information or something like that. Chances are they don't, and you're just, they're just going to take your money. So be very careful. Find out exactly how people are making money if they come at you with an investment opportunity. And if anybody's promising you more than like 10% a year, that's a scam. That's, even if they may pay you back the first year, that's something that's going to blow up. So I hope this information was valuable for you. If it was, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Okay? See you in the next video. Bye.